Hello guys and gals, happy Sunday, welcome back. You may have noticed recently a rise in this style of tech house, the more moody, darker side. So first, we're going to be learning why Serato, Rekordbox and Beatport are lying to you. Then, I'm going to show you a rhythm I call square tough. Next, I will reveal the 4 key notes that they're all using. And last but not least, we're going to learn about a special anti-chord that's in most of them too. Let's go. So firstly, we're going to need a bass line. I want to show you this rhythm I was talking about in the intro. I call square tough. So called because it's square rhythm, and square rhythms sound tougher. Simple as that. So what do I mean by square rhythm? It's actually quite simple. What you're looking at here is a bass playing 8th notes, which simply means if we divide this bar into 8, then each note is on one of the 8ths. As you can see, if I change my grid from the usual 16ths to 8ths, you can see they line up. Now, if I was to change these 8 notes from playing on the beat to off the beat, this is no longer square rhythm. This is the opposite. This is syncopated. Listen to how that's taken us away from that tough bounce. Now, syncopated notes are important for groove. We will be introducing some in a moment, but the idea in a nutshell is to keep things simple. We're trying to stay square and tough. Now, bear in mind, this will depend on your vocal. Listen to the one I have here. It's also square. Hopefully you'll be able to hear that vocal is on a similar vibe, square rhythm, matching our bass rhythm nicely. Now, to introduce a little bit of groove to this, we can pick 1 or 2 notes to move into syncopation. That's going to give us that little rhythmic nudge. We want just enough to get people moving. But remember, we're keeping this simple for toughness. We're not going to go too far. So, square tough. There's our bass rhythm. Let's look at the next piece of the puzzle. Okay, so first we need to discuss a little quirk of today's DJ software. I'm going to lump them all together because as far as I can tell, they all have the same flaw. I'm talking about Mixed in Key, Rekordbox, Serato, and websites like Beatport. They all have the same problem. And for this type of music, it's not setting you up for success if you're not aware of it. That problem is key detection. C minor, C major, that kind of thing. They usually get the first bit right. If the track's tonal center is indeed on C, then that's usually correct in these cases. The problem is the second bit, major or minor. They can only detect major and minor. And if you didn't know, there are many, many more different types of scale than major or minor. If you've ever scrolled through a plugin like Scaler or a controller like the Push, you might have noticed this. Now, not only are there many more types, but in the case of many club genres, major is not even the second most common scale. So if the track in question is not minor, it's going to get it wrong. And surprise, surprise, as you can see, 5 tracks of the top 20 on Beatport right now are labelled wrong. They're all tech house. They all have this deep and dark vibe I'm referring to, and it's because they all use a scale called Phrygian. So, to explain Phrygian, we're going to compare it to the most common scale, the one we're most familiar with, minor. I'm going to draw the 7 notes of our minor scale right now. This is E minor. I'll show you why I've chosen E later. So there you go, the 7 notes of E minor. Frisian is only subtly different to minor, but significantly also. This second note gets flattened. Hopefully you can hear that makes the start of the scale much darker, meaner, if you will. Now that vibe can be even more pronounced if we stick to a certain selection of notes. And I have noticed a certain pattern across many of these tracks, the same 4-note selection. Those notes being 1, 2, 5 and 6 of our Frisian scale, of course. Let me show you this line on a sine wave lead, and it should start sounding even more familiar. Here's what it would sound like in normal minor. You might almost call that happy in comparison. And back to Frisian. So, if we stick to notes 1, 2, 5 and 6 in Frisian, we can't go far wrong getting this vibe right. The more eagle-eyed among you may have noticed why I have chosen today's key as E. It's because all the white notes from E make the Frisian scale. Nice and easy. Also, as an added bonus, E is a great key for bass. But of course you already knew that, right? Because you saw my video? Yeah? Okay. Now, this 4-note rule actually makes even more sense when you look at what types of chords these tracks tend to use. Regulars of the channel will know that we normally build a chord like this. We press one, we miss one, press one, miss one, press one. We call these triads, 3 notes. However, what I've noticed across all of these tracks is they tend to be using this type of chord where we delete the middle notes. It's called a 5th chord, as it only contains notes 1 and 5. Also called an open chord. It's neither major or minor. In the rock world, they call this a power chord. Now look what happens if we base this chord on note 1 or note 2 of our Frisian scale. We get notes 5 and 6 above anyway. We can still use notes 5 and 6 as the chord base as well. And as I'm sure you'll agree, everything is sounding great. We also use this trick in the pad section, which is coming up now. Even the pad doesn't use a full chord. It's just note 1, note 5, and note 6. Let me filter the lead down so you can hear that. So as you can see, every element of the track using either note 1, 2, 5, or 6. Okie dokie, that's going to do it for this week. I hope you learned something. If you did, you know what to do. Press one of the buttons that helps me out. Or if you really want to help me out, you could buy me a coffee in the description. If you liked any of the instrument sounds in this video, they were all made with the free synth Vital, and I will link the patches down below. And until I think of a sign-off slogan, have a good one, guys. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.